Is Lefty your real name, or is that like a nickname that you...
Lefty's a name I got when I got careless with a lawnmower when I was in grade 1. It's Mother's Day, and my dad and mom, they got a new lawnmower. We're out in the boat, and my brother is older. He's 3 years older, and we come home from the boat, and we want to check the lawnmower. My dad says, "Don't play with a lawnmower. It's not for kids. I'm only this big." And so anyways, we have to check the lawnmower, but my dad had already paid a guy to cut the lawn. John Moriarty cut the lawn, and it's all cut. So anyways, me and my older brother get playing with the lawnmower, and it's not a power mower, it's the old reel types. You remember the old push mowers? But if you take it and turn it upside down and pull it backwards, the turbine kind of goes free willy because it's not cutting the grass. So my brother's walking backwards, and little Dougie, that's me, he's putting rolled up newspaper in the lawnmower. And there's shrapnel, like, I was going to say the S word, but I'll say shrapnel flying everywhere. So I'm putting the stuff in the lawnmower, and there's crap flying, it's shredding, eh? Everywhere. Just we were the original paper shredders. Paper shredding wasn't even invented at that time. This is like 60 years ago, eh? 65 years ago, holy geez. Anyway, so I go in a bit far, cut that one right off. That one they sewed up. They never sewed them back on in them days. That's a long time ago, eh? So anyways, I go to the doctor, and they sewed me up, and I'm okay for a few days. And then I get back to school, and the kids start teasing me. They're saying, "Lefty, Lefty, Lefty, na 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 na," and teasing me about my finger off, eh? So I start hurling rocks with my other hand. I hit this girl called Linda Wheeler right in the back of the coconut. Down she goes like a duck, eh? So they drag her off to Doc Talbot's, put a few stitches in her head. My dad says, "Dougie, you can't be splitting everybody's head open for calling you Lefty. You better get used to it, eh?" So that's what happened. That's like 65 years ago that happened. Yeah, now you know where I got the name.
What was it like growing up?
It's different times, and when I grew up, it's a simpler time. Things were a lot different way back when. And for example, like back when I was a kid, Lennox Vasey had a hardware store down in Port McNichol at the bottom of the hill. And in the summertime, he had about a 1-ton stick-sided truck. And in the summertime, the kids would all go to Vasey's hardware store and wait out by the front and get in this truck. Whoever got in the truck would get in the back of that truck, and he would drive the kids to the beach, down to Paradise Point. No count taken, just whoever gets in the truck, get in the truck, and they go to the beach. Lennox would drive the truck down to the beach. The kids would all jump off, and they'd go swimming for the day. And later on in the day, he would drive his truck back. Whoever got in the truck got in. Whoever didn't get in the truck didn't get in. Somebody else maybe came home on their own or whatever. There was no count, no nothing. And that's the way it was. Lennox would drive the kids to the beach every day in the summertime and pick up whoever wanted to come back. And now, you can't even wait for the damn school bus without your mother sitting beside you. Like, it was a simpler time and a better time in so many ways. So I think I've touched on what you're talking about there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did you do for employment when you were younger?
I finished grade 10, and I quit school, went and got a really good job downtown Toronto, worked for a great guy, and he wasn't related, but his name was Doug Duncan. Weird thing. The funny part about that, his name was Doug Duncan. His wife was Florence Duncan, not related. My mother is Florence Duncan. And he had a son named Bob, which is my brother is Bob. Weird. And anyways, but that's another story. But he was a good boss, and I just couldn't take the city anymore, so I quit there with about a year later and came up and worked for Roger Hunter in Midland, a GM dealer, apprentice mechanic, got my license, and then kind of went on my own after that. And then my dad died when he was only 57, and by then I was married, and me and my wife took over the marina, and that kind of consumed me from there.
Did you ever watch or do something about like Hockey Night in Canada? Because it was something that like blew up when you were younger. Did you ever watch it? Like,
Oh, always, yeah. Way back then, I guess I am dating myself. Way back, my grandmother had a TV, and we would go to her place to watch the Santa Claus Parade, because we didn't have one.
Yeah.
And we'd watch the Santa Claus Parade, and then a few years later, we got our own TV, and when Hockey Night in Canada would come on, they would come on in the middle of the game. It would be, maybe 9 o'clock, maybe there's a period played or half a period played, and they would come in at a certain time and start broadcasting the game from then on. And it would be, old Murray Westgate was the sponsor for Esso. He'd come on there, and it would be just part of the game. And at the end of the hockey game, there was a show called Juliet Show. And anyways, she would come on the air after the hockey game, and if there was fights or delays in the hockey game, sometimes her show would be about 2 minutes long or even less. She'd get on the air and say, "Oh, good night, I've got to go." And it would be, that's the way it was, because the hockey game went too late. And everybody said, "Well, that's what happens." And then after that, test pattern comes on. There's a little show there with this test pattern for the rest of the night you're looking at, then things so you could set your dials and everything, because you could use the test pattern to get your focus and everything right on the TV, because you always had to twiddle with them. You only had 2 channels if you were lucky. One good strong channel. Now you got 500 channels of nothing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that was like 2 channels, and you'd have to tweak it, or you'd have to turn the rotor towards a Royer, Barry, or whatever to make that second channel come in. So that's a simpler time, but always different.
What was the best part of your childhood?
Living through it was good, yeah. I don't know, I always had a great childhood. We always had boats and motors and cars to play with. And I remember when I was just a kid, probably grade 4 or 5, I learned to drive on my mom's 1952 Buick, straight 8. I was pillows behind the seats, and it was a straight 8, 3 on the tree, we call it, with a 3-speed column shift, and I was just a little wee fart.
What were your teenage years like? Was there anything memorable that you'd like to share?
Some I shouldn't share. But we always had a lot of fun. We really made the best. It was, like I say, a simpler time, and you made your own fun. And I remember the one time, I was bored, and I don't know whatever was going on, and my buddy was coming down the hill in his car, and I was going up the hill, the Main Street Hill in Port, and I was going up the hill, and I don't know what happened, but anyways, well, I know what happened, but I don't know why. He was going down the hill, and I was coming up, and I sideswiped him on purpose, just for something to do, because it was one of them slow nights, and it's a one-horse town, there's nothing going on, and so anyways, I sideswiped his precious car, and then he chased me all around town for half an hour or so, and then he went in the ditch, and I had to pull him out, and he calmed down by then, and it's like homemade fun. You just, you make do, and there's lots of stories like that.
What do you believe to be your greatest personal achievement?
Well, I'm very proud of my 2 boys, that they've turned out well. They've been busy, and they have a good business going, and that's one big thing I'm very proud of, the way my sons have turned out. And I think my biggest personal achievements, I maybe haven't made them yet. Haven't got them finished, I don't know, but it's an ongoing thing. Every time, if you can do something good for somebody, it's a good feeling. I like to give back where I can.
Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure, and I hope you get some credit marks for this, for your trouble. And
I hope. Better be worth something at least, I think.
Well, that and $2 will get you a coffee if you're careful where you go. I think you can leave them with that. Okay? All right.